So this is the world's simplest Facebook ad system to scale to $10,000 a day or more with just one campaign. So I've spent millions of dollars advertising on Facebook, and in just one of my businesses last month, we spent $437,000 of our own money on Meta ads, which includes Facebook and Instagram ads. Now, I found the system that is so simple, I thought I was crazy. So I decided to ask two buddies of mine who own two different agencies to see what they thought. And so they manage a combined multiple millions of dollars every single month. And what I found out is this kind of system can help somebody that's never advertised on Facebook before. Maybe you've kind of dabbled, maybe you have an agency working for you, maybe you're a business owner, and you can use and manage this system in like an hour a week or less with just one campaign to scale to $10,000 a day or more. It's that simple. So let me show you what it looks like. So all modern advertising really comes down to just three things. And you got to get all three of these correct, and that's how you scale. So the first thing is you need some good ads. And then the second thing is you need to do some level of testing, because even if you create the best ads possible, doesn't mean they're all going to work. And a lot of times they won't. In most cases, 9 times out of 10, the ads you launch are not going to work. So what you're looking for is those winners. And then you need some way to scale this stuff. And so we're going to talk about how to accomplish these and how to do all of this pretty much automatically with just one campaign. And so what do you have here at some of these intersections? If you have really good ads and a testing framework, that allows you to find some winners, which is awesome because that's what you're looking for, because a single ad can dramatically change your business. We had one ad that it was a chocolate cake ad out of all things. This was early when we went from basically like 2.5 million to 16 million to 25 million in our first few years. Sometime like halfway through that first year, basically scaling from nothing to our first 2.5 million a year, we found this chocolate cake ad. It was literally just a close-up photo of a piece of chocolate cake getting cut, blew up our business. That ad alone. This happens all the time. So if you're creating good ads and you're doing a lot of testing, you're going to end up uncovering some of these winners. Now, if you're doing a great job testing stuff and a great job scaling stuff, you're going to have some good efficiency, but you're not going to have those winners if you don't have the good ads part. Now, if you're doing a good job creating good ads and you know how to scale those things, but you aren't doing any testing, then you're kind of just doing some guessing here. That's why you need to wrap all three of these things into a comprehensive ad system. So the way you create good ads is, first off, you need to do a bit of research, which can literally just be looking at your competitors and other brands in Facebook ad library, or I've been using a tool lately called Trend Track, no affiliation, but it makes the process of finding people's ads like way faster. And then you need to write some good copy for those people, which is basically just looking at reviews and finding out who's buying this thing, what do they care about, putting that stuff in your ad copy, and then some formats. So when we talk about formats, we need images, videos, and even within those, for videos, user-generated content type videos is kind of like selfie style videos you see all over the place. You can also have AI videos, or you can have a product unboxing videos for static image ads, which are basically just image ads on social media ads. And so those ones, you can have them versus us ad, you can have discount ads, and these things you've seen as a consumer all over the place. So your goal is to create as much variety as possible in ads, and then you fulfill that bucket. On the testing side, you're typically going to add things in batches. So like once a week, you want to add at least a few new creatives that are good, following some good research, some good copy, and some good formats. Then you want to have some sort of metric that you're optimizing for. And so in our case, it's usually cost per acquisition, because the amount of money we make per customer is relatively consistent. So we know if we can get new customers for around $100, we make money after a year, which was our goal. When we were first scaling, we needed to make money way faster because we didn't put a bunch of money into the business or anything. So it had to kind of fund its own cash flow. So at that point, our target was like $40. But because we're a more mature $50, $60 million a year business and growing, that we're willing to spend $100 to get a customer. So we need some sort of target. Could be cost per acquisition, could be something called return on ad spend or ROAS. And that's kind of beyond the scope of this conversation, but basically that's more based if you have a bunch of different funnels and products that are all producing different dollar amounts. So you need something that's more based on that. But for us, a standard cost per acquisition metric works totally fine. And then you need to kind of prune and promote the different ads. So if an ad isn't working, you find some way to stop spending money on it. If an ad is working, you find some way to spend more money on it. So that fulfills the testing bucket here. And then scaling. So a typical scaling rule of thumb that a lot of people have talked about and we've used is to scale by 20 to 30% every couple days. And so if you have an ad or an ad set or a campaign that's working, add 20 to 30%. If it goes from $10, it goes to $12 and so forth, from $100 to $120 or $130, and you increase that daily budget every few days. Then you need to monitor performance. Now, sometimes you can go crazy monitoring it too much. Some people don't monitor it enough. I think a rough cadence of looking at things, unless this is your full-time business as an agency, which it's not for me, then monitoring it once or twice a week is plenty. Any more than that, you start making emotional decisions without a lot of data because things haven't had enough time to run. If you do it not enough, then you end up letting bad performance run for too long. Then you need one of the most important ingredients, which is patience. And so if you can create good ads and apply some good testing, meaning you know the target that you're shooting for, you're rolling things out in like weekly batches, at least a few new creatives, you're spending more money on the ads that are working and less money on the ads that are not working, then if things are performing well, you're increasing your budgets regularly, you're monitoring performance, and you're letting things have enough time to run. That's how you scale your business. Now, all of this can seem like a lot of work, and in some cases it is. That's why my recommendation is once you get up to spending, at least a few $1,000s a day, hire an agency. Monitor them very closely because most agencies are terrible. Even the good ones need some close monitoring, but a lot of times the agency you just find off the street is not going to be good. So I recommend learning enough of this so you know what's going on, get your business up to spending at least a couple grand a day or so, then hire an agency and then let them do all this stuff for you. But right now, the cool thing is the system that is working the best on Meta, potentially overall, but especially up to like a few grand, 10 grand a day or so, is so simple. Meta basically takes care of all this stuff for you. As long as you feed it good ads, it'll essentially take care of the testing and the scaling for you. Let me show you what this looks like. So this is what the campaign structure would actually look like. So we would basically just have one campaign. And so this is how I always said it's the one campaign setup. So if we just have one campaign and it has its own budget, which all this means is that the budget in this campaign is going to be split among the different ad sets within here, but we really only need one ad set. And this part is critical. Campaign bid strategy, we want to set as a cost per result goal. The reason that's so important, if you set an overall budget for your Facebook ad campaign, that's the most you're going to spend per day. I put $100 here, could be $1,000, could be $10,000 a day. You're not going to spend more than that. So that's a risk mitigation tool. This cost per result goal is basically telling Meta, hey, for this funnel, for this product, I'm willing to spend X to get a new buyer. And so when you put that rule in place, Meta knows who to go find and how much to spend to acquire them. Sometimes it'll be more, sometimes it'll be less, but over enough time, you'll basically get that target, which is awesome because you have your max amount you're going to spend. You're telling Facebook, if you can go get customers for this price point, do it. If you can't, don't get me any more customers and don't spend any more money. Now, it's not a 100% bulletproof system, but it works pretty darn good. So if you set that up in the campaign, you're basically done. Then inside of your ad set, if you go down here to cost per result goal, say, for example, you're willing to spend $50 to get a customer. Because like us, you figure, hey, I make $100 in these customers. Our gross margin's 50%. And so I'm willing to spend, basically our full gross margin on the first year to acquire those customers. Now your numbers may be different. Maybe you only want to spend $20, $60, $70. Maybe you have a higher average order value. I don't really know, but you should know how much you're willing to spend on ads to get a sale or a customer, either as a function of cost per result or a function of cost per acquisition or return on ad spend. Either one of those is totally fine. And so put that number in here. So for us, if we want to spend $50 to get a new customer, we put that in there. And then now we have some controls. And then we basically just target everyone on the planet pretty much. A lot of times we'll exclude customers and that sort of thing. But in general, we're letting Facebook go find people for us. Then what is our whole job at that point? We've got this one campaign and we've got this one ad set. Then all we're doing is continually creating good ads every single week, dumping them in that ad set, dumping them in that ad set every single week. Facebook, because it knows what you're trying to do. I want to get as many sales as possible at this cost or lower within this budget. Then it does all the work for you. It does all the testing for you. It does all the scaling for you as long as you just keep giving it more budget. But basically, if I were to say, let this run for a little while, and if I put like a $20,000 a day budget in there, but it literally can't find me enough customers, over time, it's not gonna spend that full amount. And so it basically is taking care of the scaling piece for you as well. As long as you put a bigger number in there, it's gonna try to find you as many customers as possible at that result, at that cost per result or less. So what does this mean? This means you don't need an agency in most cases. It means you can go out there, run your own ads, and as long as you're creating good ads, which you can even hire agencies that only do this part. And all the rest of the stuff where people are taking a percentage of ad spend or whatever, you can do that in about, an hour a week or less. You can have somebody else just pumping out ads for you. You can use AI, whatever. And then you can basically take care of this whole system yourself. You literally need nothing else as far as a scaling system to spend thousands of dollars a day profitably on ads. Now, if you want to get a little fancier, you can do one extra thing. So this is all a one campaign setup. If you want to get a little fancier, you can add a second campaign. The second campaign just makes the system a little more efficient, which is not necessary and is not guaranteed to actually even be better, but I have to tell you what it is. And so if you add a second campaign, this basically becomes your testing campaign. The whole purpose of the testing campaign is you're trying to test ads to find which ones work before you dump them into that other campaign. The reason you do this is because what can happen is if you put all your ads in one campaign in one ad set, Facebook has to sort through a bunch of these, and sometimes it can waste money, especially in the short term, running ads that don't need to be run and spending more on them than they should. So you move that to a testing campaign, you keep dumping ads in there every single week, finding out the ones that work, cutting the ones that don't, and then you only put the high performers in that first campaign. It can be a more efficient way to scale. It's not that much more complicated, but honestly, you can get by with just a single campaign, single ad set structure and scale your way up to multiple thousands of dollars a day. So to see the other two major pieces of scaling a business to $1 million, $10 million and more every single year, which is your funnel and your product, watch this video next on how to double your business while removing yourself from 80% of day-to-day operations.